Hey guys, on this video we're gonna show you actually how to replace a screen on an iPad mini 1 and 2. This iPad, like you see, is already the screen is cracked and the LCD is not working also, as you see. So we're gonna actually perform a repair to get the digitizer repaired and the LCD. Okay, so I mean, this is the stuff we're gonna use, the tools. So this is what we're gonna be using. The glasses, I mean, just for protection. And we're also gonna be using this. That's a heating plate, so it's set up for 65 degrees. And we're gonna start by turning off the iPad. So I'm just gonna turn it off. Okay, and what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna put in the heating plate for 15 minutes on each side. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Okay guys, after we heat up this iPad, now we're gonna actually try to remove the screen. So let's wear this goggles for protection. Let's start actually pulling the screen. We're gonna use this guitar pick, just put them between the digitizer and the frame. And for those actually who want to transfer the home button back to the new screen, if you buy a screen without the home button, so you gotta be careful when you come down here, make sure you don't cut the cable. And the reason why I cut this cable, because I'm changing the LCD and the digitizer, so I have nothing to lose. And the digitizer that I have, it does actually come with the home button. But for those whose screen does not have the home button, you gotta be careful when you remove it. When you come down here to the bottom, make sure you don't cut this cable. And the top here, you gotta be careful actually not to cut the cable that coming up from the facing camera, I mean the back camera. There you go, right here, so you can see it actually right there. So I mean, when you peel the screen or the glass from the frame, you gotta be careful when you come up here. I was just gonna brush the screen. When you remove this tape, you gotta remember actually to put it back on that screw when you're done, because this is actually for a magnetic reason. So there is one on the bottom right corner and the top right corner. So the LCD has 4 screws, so this is what I'm removing right now. But this iPad mini version, they're a little tricky, because the LCD, even though we remove the screws, it still have a adhesive underneath it, and sometimes it's really hard to get that adhesive loose, or like breaking loose. So what we're gonna do is just gonna lift the side here. Sometimes it's good actually to run like a dental floss. So when you put up a side like this, you just run a dental floss from this side, this corner, to the other corner. But for me, I just go like this, and that's where the adhesive is. So I'm breaking that open, and we run it to the other side here. And you gotta start actually from the top where the camera, and you're gonna work your way down, because over here it's a little tricky. So on the bottom, we're gonna move this tape that we have here, put it to the side, because we have to transfer it to the new LCD that I'm replacing. Or if you're not replacing the LCD, you make sure you put it back on the old one. And it is actually, it would be nice if you wear like some rubber gloves or something, because when you touch the screen with your finger and you leave those fingerprints in there, it's really hard actually to remove them. Okay, so that tape is out now. There is a little tape here that we gotta remove, and you make sure actually you put it back. It goes right here. Okay, so now that the LCD is removed, we're gonna remove about like, I don't know how many screws. There is a lot of screws in here that we're gonna remove from the shield that covers up the battery, separate the battery from the LCD. So we're just gonna start removing the screws. That's 2 screws right now, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just to let you guys know that this is an iPad mini 2. An iPad mini 1, there is so many screws. There is more screws than this one. And when you come up here, this is your top right. It should be like 2 screws in here. Those screws actually, they're different sizes than the ones we just removed. So you gotta make sure actually you put them separate. So when you put them back together, you put them in the right place. Okay, so this shield is out. Okay, now we're gonna actually remove these screws. That's the EMI shield that covers up the digitizer and the LCD connector to the motherboard. So just put them out. They are the same size, but this guy over here, 2 screws are the same, the third one, this one that goes right here, is a different size. So when you put them, try to put them in order so you remember how to put them back. And this is a little tricky. These connectors, we remove actually the battery first, so that's the battery. This is the like the big connector over here, so we just remove it like this. But we gotta be careful when you remove the digitizer connector. Sometimes you end up breaking the connector on the motherboard, and that's hard to fix. Then you have to actually send it to somebody to fix it for you, which it requires a micro soldering, and that happened to me before. I didn't like it. So this one came up good. So this guy right here I'm talking about is for the digitizer. So that guy, if you remove it and you end up breaking the connector on the motherboard, then it's no good. Okay, I think I still see the yellow. The gold pins are still in there, so we did not break the connector. You just come underneath there a little bit of adhesive, so you try to break it. And here we go. That's the LCD is out, and this is the connector actually for the digitizer. This is the one I broke before. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is just gonna clean up the frame, but let me clean this table first from the debris of the glass. Okay, so now I'm just gonna get some alcohol and get my my LCD and digitizer ready. So I'm gonna use the alcohol pads. I really don't like this one. I bought it from eBay. It did not end up like being strong, so what I do is just use this one right here. And the reason why we're removing this adhesive from the frame, just because we wanted the new screen, when it sits there, it will actually, you know, kind of stick really good. So if you leave this adhesive, it's not gonna give that much of strength. Okay guys, now that we cleaned the frame from the remaining adhesive, we're gonna go ahead and install the LCD and digitizer. So see, this is the brand new LCD from iCracked, and also the digitizer. So we're gonna go ahead actually, and we install the digitizer first, then we put the LCD on it. So just gonna put it down here for now to test. There we go. Now it's on. But the only thing now that the battery is not charged. So that's not a good sign for me to confirm if it's working or not, but I know it's working. So we gotta charge it. Okay, now we're just gonna connect this stuff back together. So we're gonna put the EMI shell back here on these connectors. Okay, like I said before, this screws on the right side, they have a tape that covers them, so you gotta put them back. You gotta put this tape back. Okay, as you see on the old screen, so here is the magnet. We're gonna remove the magnet and put it on the new screen. So there is two of them. So one of them goes in the top corner. It's always that right corner. And the other one goes in the bottom corner. Okay. Now we're gonna put this tape back where it belongs, and it goes actually on the LCD right in the bottom. And this one goes on the top of it. And this one goes right here. Get some more screws here to put on the LCD. Okay, and just to let you know that when you actually change the LCD, you gotta buy this, I don't know what they call it, but this goes actually along the sides of the LCD. It's kind of like a rubber thing that protect the LCD from the digitizer, just in case like you put some pressure on the digitizer, it might break the LCD. So this is like a protection for the LCD. Okay, so we're just gonna test it before I remove the films. Make sure, you know, before you seal the iPad back together, that everything functions the right way. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna show you guys a way actually to make sure the digitizer and the LCD are working. So here's how you do it. Press on the app like you're gonna delete it, then you start actually running it all around the LCD to make sure there is no dead spot. If there is a dead spot, the app is not gonna actually go over it. So you make sure you go to the other side of the page and you bring it back. And make sure the home button is working. Open up the app. And tap on it. Okay, so this home button seems like to be stiffed a little bit. I think because the plastic cover is still on the screen, so it gives me a hard time. So make sure the camera is working. Okay. So now we're just gonna actually remove the film that goes on the LCD. Seems like this one is giving me a hard time. There we go. Make sure not to touch the LCD at all. Now we're gonna move the film on the digitizer. And the last part is to remove the plastic cover that covers up the adhesive. And this is it. So this is the last part right here. Make sure